Okay, I think I'm recording. Does anybody see record?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right, we're ready, Deanna.
All right, let me go ahead and see if I can share the screen. Here we go. This will stop other screen sharing.
That's
Yes.
okay. I don't need to share mine.
Okay. Awesome. And share. Okay, so can everybody see? Let me see. Let me go to 575. Can everybody see differentiated instruction for the
Uh-huh.
inclusive classroom? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So before I go ahead and get started, I just want to explain that during the master's program, I was able to learn a lot of things. And I think that it really opened me up to just being able to take risks and to feel much more confidence in myself in my own learning, as well as with group activity. I have to say that throughout the master's program, though it was a short period of time, I think a lot of things had happened from, illness to job changes to deaths in the family, just everything happened. But here we are now and we are finishing. And I'm sure that a lot of you guys had your own obstacles as well. So congratulations to us. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get started with my presentation. So this is my course, Differentiated Instruction for the Inclusive Classroom. Now, I know this is a long title, but I strongly believe that this title is exactly as what students will expect to learn. So here's my nice little introductory video. You don't have to watch it now, but it's just kind of me explaining who I am as a professor or educator, and then what I expect from my students. So why take this course? This is basically, to sum up, that as educators in the classroom, we do find a lot of students that feel unmotivated, or students that may have trouble learning with the traditional sense of with traditional formats of learning. So what I want to do is promote multisensory formats and also differentiation in a way that is feasible in real life situations. So I included a we will, I will, which is something that we do in Texas curriculum. I don't know about New Mexico, but we will determine the benefits of using differentiation in assessment and instruction for our students in an inclusive classroom environment. And this knowledge through the engagement of an online learning community, the completion of assistive activities, and questioning and analyzing instructional content. Right here, you'll find all of my contact information. As you can see, this is an online course. However, I do offer office hours. I did even offer a span of time in which I will respond to students, and even how they can reach me via emergencies or multimedia formats. So basically, lots of instructor presence, even at odd hours, is pretty much encouraged in this course. And so I'm going to go to the course access, get started here. And this is part of module 0, which is basically an introduction of the course. They get to learn about what it is that they're expected to do, and then every module follows the same pattern. So in the beginning, they're going to have a read me first, or an objective description. And then of course here you see it. And then they also have their assignments listed for them. So first things first, students will read the syllabus. They can also have it downloaded or online. That's a really good one that I learned from multiple courses. And then as you can see, I have things like navigating through the course, learning objectives, required reading textbooks that students will use, all in which will be provided by the professor, me, course prerequisites, technology requirements, learning community, etiquette and discussion expectations. I even left a list of what to do and what not to do, as I think some people might get confused sometimes. Plagiarism, course goals and assignments. This to me was the most important part, I think, of the syllabus, because as we as master's program students have found, is that it's really nice to have a set schedule to be able to follow and to kind of foresee what it is that we have to prepare for and do. So for example, in my week 1, students are expected to complete module 0, which again is the introductory segment of the course, and module 1 as they dive into introducing each other. They have assignments due by 3/21/2021. I know. I was told that this could be past tense in a former course, and I forgot to ask you, Dr. Rayner, so I hope that's okay. but yes, so they have the Who Am I presentation, which I'll show you in a bit. I thought it was pretty fun. Putting teams together, and then syllabus and learner support area quiz for extra credit. And then of course the list goes on. Something to note is that there is a late assignment policy and a grade scale. And then of course, there's everything in between that the students may need to understand their expectations when participating. As you can see, there are only 5 weeks of the course, so this is kind of like a mini semester, and more intentionally so, it was developed as a professional development course for incoming educators, kind of like myself. So let me go to the modules. Let me show you what they look like. If anybody has any questions or wants to backtrack and see anything, just let me know. So again, learner support area right here. This is all the external resources that students can have that are available on campus or even outside. Some of the most important listed included technical support in case students find that it's difficult to use their computer or anything. They have the NMSU help desk, technology advisor, and other resources in between. Oh no. Hold on one second. Okay, there. Next, we also have, for example, the Canvas tutorial, academic integrity, etc. And a lot of these I have to thank my fellow peers within the master's program. I think these were all collective of your ideas and thoughts as well. So, you know, I can't take the credit for this one. Thank you guys so much. Again, module 0, start here, the syllabus, course navigation, we've already seen those. Module 1, so let me go into the learning objectives page, which exists in every module. Again, course objectives, module objectives, and assignments. Let me go into the next assignment. Module 1, further learning support. Here's a little snapshot of where they can find that learner support area and what it looks like. And then this is the Who Am I presentation. So when developing my course, I decided that it was very important to have teamwork as a sort of impact of learning. My course, if you read my, I forgot what it's called. Oh goodness, the paper that we wrote, the thesis pretty much, I based it a lot on Piaget and Vygotsky theory of sociocultural learning. And so by doing this, they are able to kind of complete that sort of constructive version of getting to know each other and finding niches in which they will be able to help each other in. So for example, creating a PowerPoint presentation, they can answer some of these questions and then they respond to each other. Maybe students will say, oh, hey, I like what you said here, or, oh, I thought this was interesting that you said this here. And then they can slowly connect. So it's not very much like just dive right in and get to know each other. It's kind of more like, these are these people's values. These are the things that they find interesting. Can you connect to it? And then from there, you kind of take off. So yeah, it was pretty fun in my opinion. Furthermore, we also have our discussions. Every discussion board and every similar assignment, by the way, has a similar grading rubric, and that's to keep the sort of consistency in the course. So you can see here, for example, for the discussion rubric, that's a universal one for this course. They have 3 expectations, all in which are graded with the same equal amount of points. So if students feel lost, or if they feel like maybe it's kind of overwhelming to do all these things at once, at least they can know that there is a consistency to their grading and therefore easier to receive help from the instructor or from their peers as well. So let me move on. How am I on time? I hope I'm good. Okay.
How much more time do you need, Deanna?
Not that much more. I think I can walk you through the rest of the modules, or I can just skim through it, however you prefer.
Why don't you just skim now? Skim
Okay.
through and just kind of give it a synopsis.
Awesome. Okay. I hope I'm doing this right. I'm sorry.
You're doing great.
Awesome. Okay, so then for module 2, we have introduction to differentiated instruction. This is kind of where students understand the concept of differentiation, and this is where they kind of identify the misconceptions of it. They have various readings, and something also that relates to Piaget's theory is sociocultural learning. So after their readings and after completing assignments on their own, they're always asked to reflect, in which then they can participate as a group and kind of break down, the things that they picked up along the way. My mouse disappeared. There we go. Okay. So again, the course assignments are done in multimedia formats. I don't believe that any of the assignments in every module are done the exact same way. So you're going to find things like quizzes, create diagrams, create presentations, create visuals, create videos, create a writing. So, it's very differentiated. And of course, I do leave the students the option to change it up a bit if it's something that they feel aids in their learning a little bit better. Again, teaching differentiated instruction. So the whole point of this course is to be able to model what students are expected to do within their own classrooms as incoming educators. And then let me just scroll down a little bit. Finally, I also have tools, tips, and tricks for differentiation without burnout and multimodal instruction in the 21st century classroom. So if students kind of feel like, why do I have to learn this online if I can't do this in the real world class? That's not true. They do have resources to be able to understand how it translates, how these different activities can resonate with young learners, and so on and so on. So definitely there's a lot of information involved. There's a lot of case studies involved. See, like right here, they have a case study letter team activity. And this one is actually their final assignment. So let me show you. So there's a lot, and it's broken down into several steps. And they even learn about Vykotski's sociocultural learning theory, which is one of the theories that I used to develop this course. So it's a very transparent course, to say the least. And students as incoming teachers, I think, should be able to understand where the professor is coming from, so they can kind of pick and choose what they like and don't like for their own students. So instead of promoting a one-size-fits-all classroom, again, by example, they're able to see this throughout the course in a way that, they're able to, they're able to implement new learning in the classroom while also being able to create learning products that demonstrate how they can translate this in their own professional realm as well. So yeah, I think, I think I just added a lot, and I really wanted to get to all of it, but of course I don't want to bore you all to death. So, okay. And then finally, yeah, that's it. I think that's it.
Yeah. Good job. Great.
Thank you. Are there any questions or concerns? No? Dr. Rayner?
No, I don't think so. I think it's a great class, Deanna, and I like the topic very much, differentiated. So you've provided a lot of modeling all the way through. You think you'll get a chance to teach it?
Actually, I would like to, because where I learned in my certification, it's a topic that we talk about, but we don't really see it in example. So I think it would be really helpful to have that,
Maybe you could do it as a professional development, possibly for the teachers in your school or something. You can keep it in mind for the future.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, now we'll get back to the alphabetical order. So Janaea, you're up next.
Yes, thank you. Good job, Deanna. Thanks for starting it off. I was a little nervous to have to start, but you took that away from me, so not bad at all. All right, let me share my screen here. Okay, can everyone see my course?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I'm a dental hygienist, and I also teach at the dental hygiene program at DACC in New Mexico, which is a branch of NMSU. So we use a lot of the same rubrics and the same formats that NMSU does, and that we have been using throughout our master's program. So that was really cool that, I'm already familiar with Canvas, and everything that I learned, I was able to incorporate into my course at DACC. So the course that I did for this class was Dental Hygiene 220. It's actually a course that I taught this semester. and it's Dental Hygiene Theory 4. And so basically, the students have their clinical practice, but they have to learn the theory before they can just jump into clinical application. So theory and clinic kind of go hand in hand. And so this is the online course that I teach. So the homepage just kind of has some information about me. I didn't do a video, but I just, gave them some background on me personally and professionally. Of course, my contact information. And you can read the description that says, it's supposed to focus on theoretical preparation for advanced clinical practice and dental hygiene. By the time the students get to this course, they're actually in their very last semester, right before they graduate and they go out into the real world to be working hygienists. So I have to basically prepare them and make sure that they're good to go. Because this is an online course, I do have, some netiquette expectations. I try to list as much as I can on the homepage without it being too wordy, just so that they don't have to click a bunch of places to find the important things that they need. So here's their textbooks that are required. And then of course the information for our course meeting times. And so I teach this through synchronous Zoom meetings. So we meet every Thursday from 1 to 4 p.m. And then they submit everything else online. So I will just kind of take you through a little bit of the course. I wanted to do like an introduction and a navigation so that they could get familiar with the course. And so the thing about this course is that it's part of a program, and I have to follow very specific protocols for what the rest of the program does. So we're very consistent with our syllabus and with our like learning goals and stuff like that. Sorry, my son is yelling. Sorry about that. So I have to follow some guidelines. So if I go down to, I won't go through everything, but if you go to the course syllabus, oh, I didn't want to click on that. I'm just going to go to the syllabus here. So if you look at the syllabus, it's very lengthy, it's very wordy, and I don't have a lot of freedom to change any of it. So I kind of have to just go based off of what we do for the program. So if it's so wordy, that's the reason why, but this is the whole entire syllabus for every single course in the dental hygiene program. And it's a lot for the students to read. So I won't make you go to that. I'm going to show you the modules for this course. So of course, I've learned about support modules for the learners that kind of just, give the learner everything they need, such as technical support, academic support, student support. So that's the very first module. And then module 1 actually is by week. So I do week 1, module 1, and I'll just show you that this is a full 16-week course. And so it actually goes to week 17 in this particular class. And so kind of similar to Deanna, because we learned the same way. I use the same kind of format to present all of my module material. So I'll do an overview where I talk about the objectives, what the readings are, what the assignments are, and then of course let them know that they can move on by clicking the next button. So pretty self-explanatory to what we've all kind of been learning about. Now, the introduction assignment is a little bit different for my students because they're part of a cohort and they've been working together, kind of like us, I guess, for the past like 2 years. So it's a 2-year program. And so it's kind of difficult for you to just say, or for me to, as the instructor, to say, well, introduce yourself to the class, because they already know each other. So I have to think of something, different than just introducing yourself. So, I just told them to say, tell us something new. This could be something you haven't shared with anyone before that you think would be interesting, your plans after graduation, different things like that, just to get them, talking about something different. And because it is an actual course at DACC, they do have to have like a final exam. So you can kind of just go through, I won't show you all of my modules, but they do have like practice exams to prepare for licensure and final exams and different things like that. So that's pretty much my course. Does anyone have any questions or anything that I know I went over it quickly, but yeah, that's it.
Good job, Janaea.
Thank
What
you.
I liked about it was I don't know anything about dental hygiene, and one thing sticked out that you have to address a lot of mental health issues in dental hygiene too. So that was very interesting to
Yes,
see.
there's a whole module on mental health in this course.
Yeah, that was fascinating. So it's a very interesting course.
Yes, lots to it, and they learn a lot. So thank you. I'm
Good.
glad you guys enjoyed it.
Excellent. Okay, who is next?
I think that it's me.
Okay.
So here I go. I'm hiding in the dark. So you're not going to see my face, but I'll show you guys my course. So here is my homepage. Can everybody hear me? And everybody see my course?
Yes.
Okay. So I started off with just a simple announcement. I have my start here, my syllabus and modules. One thing I wanted to show you my start here. This is the roadmap to success. So it kind of goes over everything that's going to come with the course. So it has our course objectives, module objectives, and outcomes for each module. My course is intentionally a PD for primary educators who are getting to know Seesaw. Something that came along with the pandemic is that Seesaw became very prominent in a lot of schools. So this is a way for new teachers to get some tricks to enhance their Seesaw activities. So that's just my little roadmap. That's probably the least colorful part of my course at this point. So again, we're here. So now we're going to go ahead and go to my syllabus. I use a lot of Bitmojis. So I have a welcome. I have my instructor information, my course description, my course information and prerequisites. Again, the course objectives and Canvas. I won't bore you through all of this. Technology requirements and my grade scheme. Grade calculation and netiquette, group work, and what this is my schedule of things. So I have my mini module and then my 4 regular modules with due dates and points possible and all the due dates. So there is all of that. Next, I'm going to go ahead and go to my modules. I have, of course, my learner support. So I have Seesaw and Bitmoji support, technical support, all of these different things. Let's see, my favorite one that I would choose, I'll go with this one, is the PLC discussion support. So I have my suggested norms, and those kind of are consistent between PLC and committee groups. We'll go ahead and go back. And then this is the other one that I liked, the Ask Ms. Coughlin page. So you can always click here and email me directly, and I typically respond within 24 hours. So that was one of my Bitmoji places. Then all of my modules do follow a similar format. So except for this mini module, it has a few less items. But one thing I realized through our coursework is having everything be for points was super important to me. So you'll notice that everything in my course is for some variety of points. So there's that. I know it looks bulky, but some of these, I'll go down here. They are across all of the modules. So each week they will contribute to this discussion. So that makes it a little less bulky. Let's see. We'll go back up to the top. Every module has an overview and a weekly webinar. I used for my formative assessment, I used Padlet. So they will each have a link to a different Padlet And they will also have a checklist because that became super important to me over our course studies, with a list of things that they need to do with each module. I know that that was a little quick. We have our criteria. Anybody have any questions or anything? That's pretty much my course in a nutshell. I know we have other presentations to do too.
Megan, do you think you'll have a chance for this to be taught?
You know, I might actually. This course came about from a professional development that I did in my first year that I wanted to do a redo. So this was kind of my attempt at redoing a professional development that I kind of threw together myself. So I wouldn't rule it out.
Good.
So,
Great. Well,
there we
thank you,
go.
Megan.
Of course.
Dr. Rayner, I'm just gonna say real quick that I'm gonna go ahead and take off, but thank you so much for everything. And I appreciate you being my professor throughout the journey. I look forward to seeing what you say on the portfolio.
You're welcome. Good luck to you, Deanna.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye,
Okay,
everyone.
bye.
Thank you.
All right, so I guess I'll go ahead and jump on in. I believe I'm next, I think, right after Megan. Just a second here. Okay, can you all see that okay?
Yes.
Okay,
You
excellent.
know what?
So
Why don't
yeah,
you
well,
take Ruben, why don't you take
mhm.
your your camera off, and that may give more room for your share, because right now your share is just a tiny little screen. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah,
Your
give me just a
video is bigger
second.
than your screen. Let's see what that does.
Give me just a second then. Yeah, let me stop sharing. So I'll just go ahead and I'll turn my video off. I don't know if it might be a setting on your end,
Oh,
Dr.
it
Rayner,
could be
but
just
we'll
because
see.
I'm
I'll
on
go
my
ahead.
laptop. It could be Ruben. I may be on my laptop.
Yeah, either way, actually, it always kind of helps because sometimes I get shoddy internet. So we'll go ahead
Yeah.
and try again without it
Okay.
then. Yeah. All right, so here we go. Okay, so this is my course homepage. My course is called Culturally and Linguistically Responsive Classroom Management. So like quite a few of our previous peers have shared, this is actually intended to be a professional development course learning experience for K-12 teachers. So I really had to broaden my scope quite a bit. And the course was originally inspired by a real, kind of need that our district was facing right around, if I remember correctly, we originally had the idea starting before the pandemic hit, but then as the pandemic, fully took place, and we went into remote learning, it became more obvious that we needed an alternative to deliver professional learning and really just all learning via, remote. So that said, that's kind of the original inspiration. But yeah, this course is hoping to teach some different practices, pedagogical practices for valuing and bringing in students some cultural backgrounds and their linguistic diversity to support them to make gains in the classroom. So from the homepage, students will visit, and one of the things that I'll highlight, which has been pretty, we've seen already a couple of times, is so this thematic kind of layout that I chose for my homepage up at the top here. I already noticed a few of our fellow peers as well have used it. We originally all got this idea, I believe, from Dr. Bara in the previous course, where she shared that she often starts a course by using a template that she's saved over time. I think it's called Design Plus or just Design Tools built into Canvas. So I basically went out of my way to try and play with it much more intentionally this time around. And I got to say, I mean, I think we all kind of maybe tinkered with it a little bit, but when you're editing content in Canvas, and specifically through NMSU's Canvas suite, because I've noticed that is a difference, you'll be able to click on Design Tools, and there are so many options for themes and just different kind of like headers and layouts that you can use. So I'm really happy with the one I ended up finding and the color scheme that I chose. So that's one thing I'm pretty proud of, is you will see this color scheme at the top of all of my content throughout. And I just think that really adds a nice additional element of, aesthetic and organization and consistency that really helps, for students to see something that took time to create. It's sort of like that extra little polish that I think makes a big difference. So I'm happy to see a lot of us kind of went the same route. But yeah, I would encourage anyone, building within Canvas, if it's available to them, to use and play around with the color schemes, because it makes a big difference. So along the same vein, one of the things that I actually enjoyed a lot was taking my content and laying it out into these, again, in the design tools, I believe they call these separate sections here. I forget the name, but there's a name for them, but you can lay out different chunks of information and give them all a little title, as well as these little buttons, I think you would call them, right? And so I enjoyed getting to choose specific buttons to kind of tag different elements of my course that you'll see pop up quite a bit. But I basically went out of my way to give everything kind of its own little framing and kind of aesthetic little extra. So, but overall, same elements that we've seen throughout most home pages. So I won't belabor that point too much. Getting started instructions and all of that. I will show, obviously the syllabus will take you to, see the syllabus. So kind of the common thing there. One thing I'll share up at the top, though, this is a practice that I learned. I forget which of our professors, but I set it in my course to where my announcements, at least the most recent ones, will always pop up at the top of the course homepage. And I really like that approach because it makes it so students never have to click on announcements to potentially see if something, urgent has come up, if there's something I need to communicate. So if they get into the practice of always looking up at the top of the homepage and seeing if there's a new one, it just makes it that much more likely they'll receive that messaging from me. So I like that feature in Canvas, and that's something that you can see I set up to be, a first announcement when they arrive to the course, so they can get accustomed to looking up there. And I'll go ahead and go into the modules, right? Really the meat of it here. So my very first module, the one that'll be consistently revisited, is my learner resources and support. As many of us have shared, this is the space where students will get a lot of different support tools that they can use, again, for technical support, for Canvas help if they need. So I created a video here for those who might be a little unfamiliar with Canvas, and kind of as well for those who might want to just know how it works for this course, because one thing you may notice on the left-hand menu here, so I probably should have mentioned this earlier, I made sure as well to eliminate excessive, unnecessary menu options that I know my students won't need. So right now you're looking at it from my view, which you can still see, for example, all of these on the bottom that I'm scrolling through here, like discussions, assignments, pages on the left-hand side. But this little marker here reminds you that they're not visible if you're actually a student. So it'll look even cleaner to students when they're viewing it, because they will only see the things that I kept in the settings. And I think that's also, again, just adds to the sense of intention, the sense of design that makes it so this feels like a catered experience for students in the course. So yeah, the only other thing I'll mention here that I think is a nice touch that I've seen in a few of our other courses in different ways is I created from the learner resources and support a couple of different discussions that students can revisit as necessary. So the tech support and request, that's for students to help each other if they're having tech issues, and for me as well. Course content discussions, I like that one because it's a space to continue conversations and even like draw from the conversations in the modules in different directions, but it's ungraded. So it's for students to engage deeper in their own space, outside of assignments and deadlines. And then the social lounge is exactly what it sounds like. It's a space for students to use to promote other things completely unrelated, but nonetheless relevant to individuals, to have shared interest. It's something that I would hope the community that I'm establishing here would want to use, just as an additional place, especially if they're all in the same area, which, because this is a professional development course for a local district, this would be a place where I would encourage teachers to post, for example, hey, we're having a fall festival and I'm running a booth, come check it out. Or, we're doing a car wash this weekend. We'd love to have your support. So I know things like that are great when you can have local communities behind them. So I really like that the social lounge will be there. And that's something that I, as the instructor, would use to, also kind of bring in that sense of community, even though this course is designed to be completely asynchronous. That doesn't mean you can't have opportunities outside of the learning space to, bring each other, to bring together the community a little bit. So that's the first one. And I'll just share a little bit about how I approached my other modules here. So module 1 is kind of a nice introductory, not right away jumping into the course, but trying to get everyone in that same place of thinking about the content. So I'll share, as a few others have here, my first get to know me activity. I call it my all about me opening activity. Again, you'll see the same aesthetic up at the top that I chose. So I have a little button that I chose for every discussion board. So it's always going to be this one. And then at the bottom, the criteria for that discussion is always going to be this same little button as well. And for this one, I made it intentionally a little more involved, because I feel like that's one way to help those who are used to taking Canvas courses to do something a little more than the usual, like, oh, here's my little 5-sentence, introduction. So I'm specifically asking for students to create a little presentation to introduce themselves to the learning community and to address these 3 questions here within this presentation. So this is something that is meant to be audio visually enhanced, not just text-based. And in order to model this, I actually, in the first post, have my own. So I'm specifically including a demonstration of what this should look like with a short, little recorded video that I made using PowerPoint slides. So something that I know would get a little bit more interest out of the activity. And obviously it's a little more involved, but I do think that's important to really help people to see each other as relatable human beings and not just, users on the other end of an online site. So I'm pretty happy with this activity, and I would be interested to see how, a learning community would respond. But yeah, it's definitely one that I'm happy with in there. So then as far as the actual content modules go, this is a 7-week professional development. So every module is intended to be 1 week. Right now, as you can see, every title of the modules I have with a week 1 dates TBD all throughout. Obviously, I would fill in those dates once I were actually running this course and I knew when it would start and end. But I like being able to put these clarifying kind of extra details in the title just because it reinforces the flow of content very easily. So it makes it nice and quick to navigate where you're at in the course. So module 2 is also a week. Once you get into modules 3 and 4, though, this is where I had to make a choice to essentially the focus of this module is where students get into the implementation of the new strategies that they're learning. So I made it so that they can see this is 2 different weeks, and I added an additional little reminder within the module, just so students have that visual reminder. All of this content is for week 1, and then this is the 2nd week. So it's kind of a nice little extra visual focus. So the only last thing I'll kind of jump into is how I brought in content that was not just text-based, but in every module I included some building background sections that I thought it was really important for how I want my students, my teachers in particular, to learn. So instead of right away jumping into the new content, I'm really taking the time to help them build some background knowledge in each content module that really supports the direction that I want the learning to go, and it's a very, important teaching practice to me. And I think it's important to model it for adult learners just as much as, young learners, in the classroom. So I'll just jump into some of this so you can see for each one of these, I basically made sure to include video content along with a little bit of, background that I provide, to share kind of my own expertise in the content area as the facilitator of the course. But it's really more intended for them to explore and to kind of open up their thinking in a nice facilitated way, similar to what I would do if I were doing this in person, right? So I really tried to replicate what I would do in front of a crowd, and I would use videos, and I would use that to, bring out reflection questions and topics that are relevant to where we're going, So I really tried to make sure that was embedded in the learning itself. And same thing, here's another building background section that goes a little bit deeper, includes another video. It also reminds them where they can go in our course text to get a little more context if they feel they need it. And all of this goes before a reflection-based question or topic that they get to dig into. So I always have a discussion board that's specifically a pre-reading reflection. So again, just trying to make sure I'm driving the learning in a way that makes sense for where I want students to go. Because I guess the final point I'll make is this course is really meant to not lead to one particular outcome, because the way that teachers can grow in learning this type of pedagogy is very broad and really based on each individual's where they're at in their teaching career and how much they've learned over time. So I wanted to make sure to model that in the approach that I took for the overall learning activities. But yeah, I'll take any questions or anything if anyone's interested. But that was an overview of my course.
I like that, Ruben. I like how you divided it up into section headings, week 1 and week 2. That's a really good one, because it's difficult when there's multi-parts of a module. So that's good, and that is such a slick design. That Design Plus program is really amazing. It just makes it look so clean and clear and crisp. They're gonna like it. The teachers.
The only warning I'll give for that is if you're anything like me and you get hyper caught up in visual details, just be prepared to put in some time. I will say I'm a little ashamed of how many hours I took in just doing that. I'm proud of how it turned out, but
Yeah, but
I'm terrible to myself when it comes to these things. So
Yeah,
I knew that going in, but it's worth it in the end. It's just
I also like, Ruben, how there's a lot of videos all the way through. It's very engaging. So good job. Very good. Okay, is Eddie next or who's next?
Yeah, I'm next. So let me. All right. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So my course is titled the Advocate Training Lab, and this is something that I have been working on for about a year now. So the idea for this was based upon my personal experiences as somebody who's involved with nonprofit advocacy work, and as well as discussions with leadership at some of these nonprofit organizations who wanted a way to give new volunteers some like baseline information on how they can advocate for themselves in their communities by leveraging the tools at their disposal, like social media and the internet and things of that nature. So we wanted to make a short-term training course for new volunteers, and for it not to be prescriptive as what we're asking them to do. I mean, some nonprofits, have a mission-based like focus, but I think this could be a general little course to like just give people a baseline on how they can identify issues that are important to them and run with it. So the homepage here has a course description, has the course objectives and goals, and those goals are for learners to identify core issues that they care about, create a story archetype, identify powerful decision makers or targets via power mapping, build an audience with social media, create a call to action, write a letter to the editor, and hopefully take that information to meet with legislators. So I put this quote here that I really like, and I feel it captures the spirit of this course. So this quote says, education either functions as an instrument, which is used to facilitate integration of the younger generation into the logic of the present system and bring about conformity, or it becomes a practice of freedom, the means by which men and women deal critically and creatively with reality and discover how to participate in the transformation of their world. So this was meant to be a flexible course where people can, use the issues that are based on their lived experiences and what they care about the most to make some transformative change. So the first learner support module is very similar to all of the others that I'm sure you all created. The only difference is that we included some community resources that were localized for this region, Doña Ana County and El Paso County. We added links for community resources, like, city hall numbers, mental health centers, things of that nature in both counties. We also added a page for broadband assistance that the local internet companies were doing. So we just localized this for this region. And kind of like Ruben's course, I created a discussion board where the learners can kind of talk about non-academic things, just a space to kind of be more chill and serve as a virtual hangout. After this initial learner support module, they move on to module 1, which gives a basic overview again on what the course is to be about, and how to navigate the course. There are no required readings. We really wanted to make this accessible and not have people go out and buy any books. The only requirements is, of course, an internet connected device. After that, we go to the syllabus, and then some policies on academic integrity and plagiarism. And then we go into the first page of the actual course, which gives a rundown of what advocacy is, because it is a broad topic. So advocacy can be anything from something passive, like writing a letter to your legislator, to a protest or a rally, to legal courtroom battles. So this form of advocacy that we're trying to teach is something that's low impact, that people can do at the comfort of their home, but also make a statement by using social media to leverage audience building and calling people out using that platform. And I added a video of me. This is me right here at the Doña Ana Board of County Commissioners last year, where I presented a resolution and it passed unanimously. And so, I wanted to show people who take this course that, like, if I can do it, they can do it, because I did not know anything about advocacy when I first started. So again, it was using my experiences on where I came from, not knowing like really anything on how to advocate for any issues, to getting something passed at the local level. And then we move on, after this, to the students' community building discussion post. So the first assignment for them is for them to introduce themselves and identify the key issues that they are passionate about. So it could be like immigrant rights, the economy, the environment, things like that. And the idea here is to identify others that are taking the course, to organize yourself into small groups, to kind of mimic finding allies in this kind of work, because advocacy is really based on networking and finding people that support your issue and that are like-minded. So that was the basis for this first assignment. And then they, after they have their groups, they move on to module 2. So module 2 goes into mobilizing a community and building their story. So what they're supposed to do is, using the issues that they identified, use one of these story archetypes that's used in like books and Hollywood and movies and shows of and there's like 7 of them, which can be overcoming the monster, a rebirth, going on a quest, the journey and return. These are just like common tropes of storytelling. And once they have their story like locked down, they are going to create a video using social media, and then do some power mapping. So the power mapping is just identifying targets that have influence to change or to like respond to your issue. And they have simple worksheets where they can do that as a group if they are in the same localized area. So I feel that the course kind of builds upon itself. Like it starts off kind of easy, and then it gets more involved. And they have to do some research on who the decision makers and the key players are in their community. After that, we move on to media. We discuss new media and old media, and then they actually write a letter to the editor to try to get published in a local paper. And that's also where they make their social media video using a platform of their choice. So for that assignment, they're going to create a call to action and tag decision makers on that platform so they can get attention. I won't bore you with all of the details, but after going into those 3 modules, the last module is teaching them how to meet with lawmakers. So it gives tips on how to bring constituents into meetings, how to have a clear ask for your legislators, how to thank their legislative aides, and just remembering that these people work for you, and there's no need to be intimidated by them. So we include a lot of resources on where to find this information, like for their offices and their legislative aides. And the last assignment is just a simple Canvas quiz to test their knowledge, and then we do have an exit course survey. So that's pretty much the nuts and bolts, the meats and potatoes of the whole course. I hope to use it and push it out for other local nonprofits. I think that there's like a lot more I can add, but I think this is a good basis to start and get interest in advocacy. If they can do this course, they can move on to more complex issues. So that's it. Thanks, everyone.
Excellent, Eddie. That you used the Design Plus as well, correct? Eddie, did you use Design Plus?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, no, that was very good. And I just think that that's going to be very high impact course. I mean, wow. It's going to be awesome. It's really going to train real grassroots stuff. So I find it very important, and good job. And I wish you luck in implementing that.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, who's after Eddie? Is it Aaron or?
I don't have any idea. I just joined about 10 minutes
I
ago.
think it's you. I think G. Eddie
G.
Estrada and then Aaron Groves. I think you're next.
Okay, let me figure this out. I cannot remember how to present.
Okay.
What's the button?
Share. Go to share.
Where do I go to share?
Screen. Share screen. It's either on the bottom or you may have to click the 3 dots.
Oh, okay. Share screen. Host is able to participate in screen sharing.
Yeah, I think you're co-host.
So, okay, mine just says host has disabled the participant screen sharing. So am I clicking on the wrong
Okay,
page?
okay, hold on. Let me give you a co-host.
Yeah, I think you may need to make her a co-host
Yeah,
as
I
well,
got it. I
Dr.
have-
Rayner, just because she came in during.
Okay, there you go. You've got it.
Okay, there it is. Okay, let me find my screen. Sorry, I have like 8,000 things open. I apologize. I'm just sitting here watching your guys' courses going like, oh, those are awesome. And I didn't have my stuff ready at all. Hang on.
Do you want to go
I think
like next after the next person, Aaron? Would that give you time to get it all ready? Or do you think it'll be?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me do that. Let me close this.
Okay, I think is that Jessica next, guys? Is Jessica after Aaron?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna try to share her video. Hold on a second. Okay. Ooh, I hope so. I hope I can get this. So that's Megan. Here's Jessica. Can you guys see, what do you see now? Do you see the beginning of her video?
No.
What do you see?
A tiny sliver of a screen.
Tiny sliver of a
Unless you need to hit.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to hit
Yeah.
play and you tell me if, no, I can't. Okay, hold on, guys. Just a second. Okay, stop share. Let me do this again. Share screen, share sound. Here we go. Okay, now what do you see? I'm going to play this. Tell me if you hear it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome.
Okay, you hear it. Do you see it?
No.
No, we just still see that same like little piece of like the top bar or something of her screen.
Now what do you see? Anything more or not?
No, same thing.
Shoot, we may not be able to do her, guys. Because what she did was she put hers on Google Drive, and you know how it's, okay, now do you see the assignment page? Do you see that?
No.
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 Stop share. Try one more time, and then I'm not going to belabor this. If this doesn't work, then we're not doing it. Okay. Boom. What do you see?
The
Same
same
thing.
sliver of the screen.
Okay,
So
Forget
sorry.
it. Forget it, guys. We're going to skip Jessica. I just can't get it. All right, Erin, you want to go?
Okay, I think I'm ready. Yeah.
All right.
It's been a while since I've gone and presented online, so it took me a little bit to remember all the buttons. Okay. All right, do you guys
Yeah,
see,
you
see
got
my
it.
screen?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, so let me put in student view, I guess, it's like Eddie did. Okay. All right, so here's my course. So this is what I'm currently teaching this. I've been teaching it for, this is my 4th year. And I've been building this course since the summer of 2020, I believe. So I've been building it for a while. And the reason I chose this topic is because I'm going teaching it. And what actually worked out really, really well is that beginning of last year, we had adopted a new book, and part of the book was going and teaching on was a software for our students to go use online as well. So I thought this was absolutely a perfect chance to really get into our new book and our new software, and especially how we're going online pretty soon too. It worked out really, really well, able to go take the new book and everything and try and put it all online. So it's worked out really well. At the very, very least, it's really allowed me to really get into the book and tear it apart and look at certain parts and seeing how can I put this online, how can I do this in person. So just, it's been really, really good for me. Here's the, what do you call it, the homepage. There's a little bit emoji. I apologize for the background noise. My boys are running in and out, so they have a friend over right now. But here's the homepage, and I teach a lot of students who are still learning English. So I try and translate as much as I possibly can. So I definitely wanted to go and include this on there too. And then this also extension to help reading. I had never heard of it, but my son needs a lot of help in reading too. So he uses this at school, and I thought it was fantastic. So decided to go and include that as well. Because as you know, all of our students have very different backgrounds and different needs and stuff. So quick little paragraph about what the course is about, some information, times and dates. And here's another start here. And I really tried to word everything to make it as easy as possible for my students, because my students' ages are about 14, 15 years old. And so as we know, they need a lot of like guidance and tell exactly do this and do this. And so I really tried to make it as straightforward as possible for them. So more information down here, blah, blah, blah about me, how amazing I am, whatever. So click on modules. And straight out, I went a little nuts. I have a total of 16, and it seems like a lot, but each module runs from Sunday until, Monday morning until Sunday night. So each module is a full week. I got my learner support. One thing I really like that I put on here is I put links just to learn how to use docs and slides and sheets, because beginning of school last year when we all went remote, and I'm sure some of you have seen different posts I've written, how as teachers, we really, really messed up beginning of last year, in that we really assumed that students knew how to use their laptops, they knew how to use docs, they knew how to use these different apps, and they absolutely did not. And they didn't have support at home. And so the first couple of months was really, really tough, just trying to figure out what the heck. So I thought this was really important to go and put in there as well. So module 1, of course, is our start here. got the overview, and it just, you know, explains what's going on with this particular module. It lists out, what is this? Oh, this is the whole thing. I'll be honest, I forgot what I was looking on here. So, oh, but in the overviews for each module, I have a list of different assignments that are due. And so I put a link to each assignment. I've got the date on there. And I left it pretty vague. I just put dates. So each week there's the overview, there's a video that I would post every Sunday that explains what's going on for the week. And so they have to watch that and submit a little like paragraph of what they saw. So the first week they have to do a video about themselves. They have to set up an account on Twitter. One really awesome thing I learned from Dr. X a couple years ago was creating a backup plan for yourself, because of course, you don't doing your classes online, you never know what's going to happen. Your laptop crashes, your Wi-Fi goes out, you know, things happen. So you need to have a backup plan. And then another thing that I really took away from our 560 class was doing our reflections on Twitter. I think we all really love that. So I include that as well here. I also have a couple different boards. I have one, again, I learned from Dr. X, was to have a discussion board solely if you have questions, and either about the course or, you know, like that, put in there. And then I have another board that's solely for them. If they want to just kind of get in there, ask each other questions, they want to talk about something, not really even about our course, but something going on in life or on the campus, or they just want to kind of bitch and complain. This is for them. And I put on there, I'm not going to jump in there and watch it. That's just solely for their space. Then of course, if they read the overview, they're just going to copy and paste this little sentence into a text box and submit it, and it gives them 10 points. Let's see, so that's a very long overview. So Canvas over here, they didn't do something. Here's a welcome video from me. And so you notice each little part has a few points to it. And so I think it was last year, our teacher said, if it's important and you want them to read it, put some points behind it, because otherwise they're going to skip over it and be done with it. So if we want them to read the overview, we want them to do all the stuff, just add some points. And I think that really encourages them to actually do their stuff. Again, so the first module is a lot, and it seems like a tremendous amount, but, and again, the extra credit with this class as well, I think it's fantastic. It's a great way to get everyone involved. And, you know, when you find a little typo or something like that, you can call out the teacher and you don't feel embarrassed. You get some points for it. So I think that's really important as well. Starting with module 2, the format runs exactly the same. We got the overview. We've got another video that I will post beginning of the week. And then there is a lesson. So it's kind of like a flipped room idea, in that the students hop into a lesson first. They complete the lesson first, and then they come back into class and we do a discussion and a group activity and stuff. So first lesson is about like functions and identifying just kind of like the key parts behind it. Here's a link on a Pear Deck. There's actually not an assignment attached to it, but so really I just set up kind of how it looks, and then I figured if this class was really to be used, that I could create the lessons and then attach something to that. And again, too, once you just read the overview, copy and paste, submit for a super easy 10 points. But so each module will have the overview. So wrong one. They'll have the overview, a video. They'll have a lesson that they need to do on their own through Pear Deck. And then this is the software that we adopted. And so what they're going to do is I'll have listed on here the different units, the different workspaces that the students need to do. And here's a link here I created for my students last year, I think, about how to go and log in and go through and stuff. So so they have to do their Mathia. It takes them probably about, I would say 1, 2, 3, 4 workspaces. Spend probably about 2 hours working on these. And then When they finish it, I just want them to take a screenshot, yet another skill on the Chromebooks or laptops, and just go and submit. And of course, the rubric. Why does that one keep popping up? Okay. So that's all supposed to be due by Wednesday midnight. So they'd have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to go complete the first half. Thursday evening is when we would get together in like over Zoom, and we'd break out into groups. And so I decided on the groups is just going to be different every week. All, just kind of bunched up so that way they're not sitting there certain groups every time. So this is an actual group thing that we actually have in the book. So I didn't make this up. This is actually came out of the book itself. So again, in theory, they'll have their textbook with them, and so they can actually take these graphs out, sort them while they're talking with their partners over Zoom like this, and then somehow come up with a way to group them. I guess take a picture of it, a picture of it, and upload it to it. But I've got information, here's our Zoom link, meeting ID, things like that. So what's going to happen is that their first part, just putting together their in this case, their groups of graphs, take a picture of it and really explain why they grouped it as they did. That first part is going to be due on Friday. So we meet together Thursday, they put everything together by Friday. And then by Sunday, they have to go respond to, what did I say, at least two peers, I think is what I said on there. And of course, that's all worth points as well. So, and then of course, yet another one other important learning thing is to go and reflect. So, and again, like I know we all loved our reflections on Twitter, and we had a great time posting our GIFs and memes and stuff. So in my mind, this is exactly how this is working as well. So again, just another quick way for students to go and reflect on either something they learned, something they experienced, something they really hated maybe. Just another way to go build our students together and go and connect together. Yeah, so that reflection will be due on Friday night. Again, they'd have to go respond to a couple other peers. Responses are due by Sunday. I got the way to go gray down here. And then the end of the module, where again, I'm all about like pictures and thumbs up and being positive and you got this. And so I just went through, this is the goals for the week. Here's a list of the assignments that I need to do. And of course, they're all linked as well. I put on here two different ways to go and contact me, and of course, have a great week. So yeah, so each module follows the exact same pattern, all the stuff. And I know it gets a little boring, I think, for us having the exact same pattern week after week after week after week. However, I think for students this age, 14, 15 years old, with who knows what other classes they're taking, who knows whatever crazy stuff they could be experiencing. I think having something this like the constant to where when they log into class, they know what to expect, they know what's going to happen, I think could be easy. It could be really good for them. So anyways, Janessa, I know you're going to love all this stuff. All these different algebra stuff. And then week 8, we'd have our midterms. So this roughly through. So it just began the overview, the webinar, we'd have a midterm, and of course a reflection. And it just goes through the whole thing down through week 16, all the way down here till we have our finals. And then of course, the course survey. Is that it? I feel like I babbled on a lot. Any questions, comments?
I personally I think this really follows a lot of the research that we read, Erin, throughout. It's reminding me of a lot of the research we read in the Community of Inquiry course. The clear, consistent design is so important It really is. And like you say, it may be boring, but no, it's a routine and it's so important.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
you,
and that's actually something I'm learning in person right now with my students, because I get bored very easily, so I'm constantly changing things up. And so what I'm finding is that the students don't like that.
They
When they
don't.
come in, they need to know, where is my paper? Where is my desk? Where is this? So I'm just like, fine, okay, we're boring.
Yeah, no, you got to be boring. And I like the emojis. No, it really, really good stuff. You've incorporated a lot of what we've read about.
Yeah, all the like C, I forgot the letters, the CRS, CRSLS, all those letters, the COI, all of this stuff I've really taken
Yeah.
really to heart. I try to really put all of this stuff in there.
I see it too. Good job.
Yeah.
Very good job.
Okay.
I hope you get to teach this course.
Well, yeah, I mean, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do a lot of this in person, and I'll be honest, it's hard to take these pieces that are so fantastic online and try and put them in person when 90% of my students just don't care. It's tough. It's really hard.
That is hard. Very hard.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Erin.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay, who goes after Erin?
It is me, I think.
Okay.
So
Let me just get a bearing. How many more people do we have? Is it Janessa, then Rachel, and then are we done?
I think so.
Okay, good.
All right. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Excellent news. Okay. So like Erin, I actually chose to build this course based on what I knew I was going to be teaching. So I do currently teach middle school math, science, and computer science. And I'm not sure why at the time I thought this was going to be a great idea, because I think that was one of the difficulties that I experienced in designing this course, was how to kind of incorporate best practice and design online and also accommodate to 11 and 12-year-olds and to meet their needs. So you'll see, and I'll just kind of take you through the stuff briefly that I know we all designed pretty similarly, because those were our requirements to do so. But my homepage gives that course description with our overall course objectives. That's me. And I made a conscious effort to, in all of my course design, to kind of keep the amount of information that I put on a single page to a minimum. If you've ever watched an 11-year-old take any sort of standardized test, they forget in that moment, in the moments that count, that they can scroll. So scrolling doesn't happen. If the answer choice is below where they would have scrolled, they will not choose it. So I really did try to keep it short and sweet here. But I've got my introductory video, and then a link to where they can navigate where to go, or also just click to start. But before I get into the modules, I'll show you my syllabus page. Again, it's going to look pretty similar to what we've all created, I'm sure, with our prerequisites. Again, those course objectives. What do our technology requirements and skills need to look like? I think my netiquette might look a little different just for my audience. And then I did pull up my syllabus because I think it shows, like what Erin did, there's consistency from one module to the next. And I utilize a lot of gradual release in my own teaching and wanted to kind of incorporate it here in this course as well. So my design was built to follow that I do, we do, you do together, and then finally you do independently on your own, so that gradual release of responsibility goes from, in that weekly cycle, from teacher to student. So they're seeing the material presented to them many different ways. They have many opportunities to engage with that content, and it's from lower to higher stakes. Again, that's just kind of best practice. So you can see, just even looking at that assignment schedule, that I've made it look really consistent. And everything else in my syllabus is going to be pretty similar to what you all have all done. Participation and expectations. I outline my grading criteria. I did design this as an 8-week course, so it would roughly follow a quarter based on the expressions and equations standards, the Common Core standards for 6th graders, which takes up a good chunk of their learning for 6th grade, how grades will be calculated and an example, and that's pretty straightforward. My modules, I think I'll just briefly kind of point out what's different about my student support module. It's actually a learner and parent support module. And I did that because knowing with my audience that I'm going to have parents be supporting their learners online. So I do specifically have a parent portal. I also have links to New Mexico Public Education. And then I'll show my parent portal just because I think that's probably one of the only things that's going to look a little different. And I have specific math resources. I know a lot of parents struggle with how to support their kids in math, especially if that's something that they weren't super confident with. And so I have 5 resources for parents who are stumped by math homework, 6th grade Parents Guide to Student Success, a collection of math resources from U Cubed. So really looking to be supportive for my learners, also for their parents. But my learner and parent support module will look pretty similar to yours with the exception of that. And then I'll take you through just my Start Here module and then one of my modules, just so that you can see what that structure looks like, because after that, they're all the same. So my welcome is part of that Start Here module where they'll see my welcome video. They're responsible for reading the course overview, the course objectives. I will do a synchronous meeting each week with my learners. That's part of the We Do together. So week 1 would be a course tour, which, my intention, of course, is to help my students become confident and comfortable in that learning environment early on so that they're successful later on. I'm asking them to read the syllabus, which I've already shown you, so I'll scroll really quickly. And then I've got some getting started tips, tricks, and helpful hints, which is just part of the Start Here module. I've got some student and parent tutorials for navigating Canvas to include in there. And then, like many of you have also mentioned, if you want it to matter, assign some point value to it. So once they've read, they'll meet that requirement simply by saying that they've done so. And then I have a syllabus scavenger hunt and getting started quiz to kind of check their learning, where they're looking for specific information in the syllabus to just kind of check to make sure we've got our understanding. My week 1 discussion, our introductions, and also kind of setting the parameters for what discussion looks like. I've got my example videos and tutorials so that they can practice or see how to post and then practice posting successfully before we get into the content. And then I've got week 2 modules, which I'll actually take you back here to look at just really quickly, because I know I don't want to take up too much of your time, but you can just see what a weekly module would look like. I'll start with the topic, the dates, the module overview, the assignment checklist, an introduction, and then we'll have the I do, the we do, which is our synchronous meeting, you do with support. So with alongside their peers, they engage in that content. They'll have multiple means of assessment. I have them doing an exit ticket, the self-check in Miro. They do a reflection in Padlet, and then they'll have a higher stakes quiz with me incentivizing additional synchronous sessions throughout the week with extra credit. So with that self-check and exit ticket, hopefully throughout the course of the week, I can kind of identify who might need more support. But I'll take you through what this looks like quickly. And then I promise you it is consistent from one week to the next. And you can see I've really done my best so that minimal scrolling is required. So weekly objectives will start us off. I link to the Common Core State Standards. An assignment checklist, so they know exactly what they need to do to be successful. And it's going to be those same 5 things every week, like on that assignment overview. I've got an introduction, and I actually pulled in anchor charts very similarly to what I would do in the classroom, along with an introductory video. And I use multiple videos from different sources, just kind of reach all my learners. I use Math Antics, which is pretty humorous, Khan Academy, which is pretty, it's very straightforward, but very clear. And then I actually have recorded tutorial videos for each of these. And then they get credit for tuning into all of the tutorials. And I've left them like secret words and messages in the videos, which I actually did. If any of you look at my course, that I did do that in my videos. So they can type in those secret words in the text box. And then preparing them for their secret sessions, I've got number talks and math talks so that it's higher level discourse about the topic. So they're preparing for that in advance. That's shared with them ahead of time so that they can go into breakout rooms, etc. This is them doing with support. I actually have a Miro board where they can check their work when they've checked. So this is where they self-check, and we'll see how. Can you see my Miro? I'm just curious. I left.
Yes.
Oh, cool. Okay. So I have my sticky notes that I have them all here. However, I would not do that. I would do it a week at a time normally. Some guided practice in Khan Academy, additional tutorial videos if they're finding that they need it. And as they're checking in to earn these points, I've asked them to check in with a green light, I'm good to go, yellow light, I'm all right, or red light, yikes, Ms. Blair, help me, kind of based on how they're feeling at this point in the week. That way I can give them their attention that they need before they go on to some higher stakes practice. They've got an exit ticket, which they're brief. I don't think any of them are longer than 2 questions. I've got some guided reflection here for them to put in Padlet, which I won't take the time to pull up. I think we've used Padlet. And then finally, the stuff that's the higher stakes for our points. So you do together their discussion, which again, it's higher level discourse where they're critiquing the reasoning of others, that I've set up parameters for some response. And lastly, their quiz. So all of my modules are going to look the same with the exception of module 8, which is where they do take a summative assessment and then they do a course evaluation for me. But everything else is pretty consistent, just a different topic, all relating to expressions and equations in 6th grade math. And that's me. I'll stop talking unless you guys have any questions.
Again, very well organized, consistent course design, which is so important. Now, what I want to shout out here on yours is it's really tiny, and you guys may not make a big difference for you, but I like the section dividers. Those little lines between the sections, it really chunks the material nicely. And it may not be a big deal for everybody, but I really liked that, Janessa, how you divided everything into sections with just that simple little line. The syllabus was so super good looking,
Thank you.
you know, with nice section breaks. So good job. Very clear design. Okay, we have our final student is Rachel. Are you our last one?
Yes, ma'am. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. I'm on a new computer tonight. My computer died yesterday. It's been a week, but so my course design, let's just start with my home page. So this is meant to be, I'm going to keep it short and sweet because I know we're over time and in Texas, it's getting kind of late. My course is Building Classroom Community in a Blended Environment, and it is meant for educators and teaching them kind of how to create a personalized synchronous environment where their students are feeling engaged and challenged. My homepage is very much like everyone else's. I've got a video, instructor information, live meetings every week, tutoring before meetings for any tech help, objective standards, all of the requirements, Zoom information, course announcements, a discussion board for collaboration between classmates. And my modules, just like everyone else, are organized very similarly. I've got all of my learner information, learner support information up at the top, and then modules 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is a mini-mester course, and they're all organized in a similar fashion. So synopsis and objectives are first, and then of course the PPR standards met for Texas are at the bottom of every module. And then next they've got a course checklist, just, well, this is their course schedule. But in every module, they have a checklist to let them know which assignments they need to do and which readings by the end of the module. This is their course syllabus, very much like everyone else's. Grading policies, late work and completes, withdrawals, student support information, etc. Just a short video about more student support that's available. I'm not going to go through every single one of these. This is just a module of a discussion board assignment. And then they have a scavenger hunt syllabus quiz. I tried to do things like Zooms for self-assessments, just to kind of give them examples. A lot of the teachers that I work with are not really open to technology in the classroom. My students had Chromebooks in second grade, but when I get them as sixth graders, they don't know how to use them. So a lot of what I focused on was modeling Kahoots and discussion board assignments and Padlets that were, blended learning activities that we could collaborate and do together. So they could either click here, or I used QR codes in my course just so I could kind of teach them how to do that. This is what our Padlet looks like, and all of our resources would be input here, just like most of you did: journals, videos, online articles, and websites. And so they could take this and utilize this later on in their courses. So let's see, let's go back to modules. And beyond that, there's an assignment checklist, course information, a Padlet for every module, a discussion board assignment, a Kahoot for self-assessment, and then an end of the module page. And at the very end, I've got a course feedback survey, just so they can give me feedback. And next time, of course, the course will be better for the next colleagues. So that's about it, unless there are any questions.
Highly interactive, highly interactive, Rachel. Very nice. And I like something you did that I haven't thought of doing. It's just taking that course schedule straight from Canvas, like the course calendar,
Yes.
and you just pasted it in. I really
So-
like that.
Thank
It's
you.
not recreating anything. It's using the Canvas calendar already. So very nice. Very good. Are there any final comments from anyone? Beautiful courses. You guys did a great job. They're superbly designed courses. I mean, it's been through the Quality Matters rubric, so you know it's thorough. So, excellent job. You guys are now course designers, instructional designers, and a lot of you are teachers, so you've got amazing training. So, I just can't say enough about how proud I am of you and of your products. I was saying today, we had a active learning symposium today that we were hosting, and I was bragging about you guys because they were saying, well, how do you measure their growth from the beginning to the end? And it's like, well, okay, I mean, I don't know, because by the end, the growth is amazing, but there's no gaps at the end. Your courses are going to be amazing. Your portfolios are amazing. It's not like you're still trying to achieve proficiency. You've gained proficiency and beyond. I was really bragging about you guys today because a lot of other students are not that proficient by the end of their program. And I was bragging. It's like, there's nothing that they're lacking. These guys, they everything is superb. So good. You guys are very well equipped. I'm going to repeat now in case anybody came on later. Go for your PhD. We need you in the field. We really do. So good luck to you guys. Keep in touch. You guys are going to do amazing things. Are there any final comments from anybody? Anybody want to make any comments on anybody's courses? I just can't brag enough, guys. Really amazing. And I can't wait for the other faculty members to see your portfolios. They're going to love them. They
I
really
just
are.
want to add one thing. A personal growth of mine is that I have personally, well, I said personal growth. I just, from where I started summer 2020 to where the person I am now, I'm a completely different person. I think it's from everything that I've learned through our I can't think what's called CRL, CSRL, COI. Everything that we've been through, everything that we experienced has just been absolutely amazing. And I personally have grown tremendously. I've learned so much. I just want to say thank you.
Well, I can see it too. I see it, and I'm glad you can see it. So, good
Definitely.
job, guys.
And I just want to send a shout out to everyone who's been in the program the last 2 years consistently. I know not all of our classmates are here, but man, we did this right at the start of the pandemic and stuck it out. And I keep thinking back to obviously how, I mean, objectively it was a super, unfortunate thing for many of us to have to deal with on top of everything else. But at the same time, I think, at least for me, I'll say taking this program alongside having to adapt to very real changes in my work
Yeah.
really was an opportunity. Obviously a challenge, but I think a lot of us will agree we've grown more so because of it. So just a shout out to everyone who's stuck it out. Congrats. And yeah, well, again, I don't know. I think everyone in this group is finishing up. But yeah, congrats again.
And Rachel says, "Yay, we did it. Best team ever." I think you're right, Rachel. So,
Thanks, guys.
I just want to add that thank you, all of you guys. I know we've all said it in some way, shape, or form, but you guys have led me to finding a more confident teacher in myself than I was even before I started this. So I appreciate each and every one of you for all of the little bits that you've given to me that I can take with me for the rest of my teaching career. So that's all.
nice. Okay, let's see. Let's make sure we're not missing any chat things. I don't know if we are or not because I can't see the chat. Hold on. I don't know. Anything else in the chat? I think we're good. Anyway, congratulations, everybody. Have a great graduation. You guys deserve it. So have a good time. Okay? All right. Yay, yay, yay. Okay, bye. We're done. You guys are done. You're graduating. Yay. Okay, bye. Good job.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.